Are you Barbara? I'm told you knew Alice.
Alice? Aye, she was almost like a sister to me. We served together for years, in the same house. Why'd you ask? Who are you?
I'm trying to find out who did this to her. I'm afraid the killer might want to go after my friend as well.
Ah, I understand.
Who did you serve?
Our master is a local merchant. He is trying his hand at trading wine.
Do you know what exactly happened to Alice?
No. Nobody saw or heard nothing. One day, she just didn't come home. And then, I found her. Like this.
It's awful what they did to her.
She was such a pretty girl. And that beautiful brown hair of hers. And it didn't even leave that untouched. Who could have cut off her hair like that? And why? None of it makes sense.
How did Alice get along with your master?
Fine. Just like with everyone. Our master is a bit strict, but he's fair.
What's his name? Can I speak to him?
Why? But you can't see him anyway. He's on a trade trip to Prague.
It occurred to me that maybe he could have done it.
He couldn't. He was gone when it happened. He hadn't been home in several weeks. And besides, why would he kill them others too? He never even knew them.
I heard about that. And also about Lumir.
Well, if you're interested, go and see him. Maybe you'll catch him sober enough to talk sense.
Do you know of any suitors she might have had?
I know she was seeing someone. Why?
I'd like to talk to him as well.
But I don't know who it was. Alice said he was rich and dressed nicely, but she promised him she'd never tell anyone his name.
And you never saw him?
No, never. I don't even know where she met with him.
So, I'll leave you to mourn in peace now. Lumiere?
Oh. Christ, my head. Not so loud.
I need to ask you something.
I said not so loud. I have a splitting headache.
That's some hangover. He's useless to me like this. Unless I'm willing to wait for him to sleep it off, I'll have to get him some kind of cure or potion. This should sober him up. No, not that. Nothing like a little hair of the dog that bit you.
More booze. Christ. I'm gonna puke.
Drink up. It'll make you feel better.
Better already. Wait, what? Who? What are you doing here? Who are you?
My name is Henry.
And what do you want from me?
I'm trying to find out who killed a certain girl. And I was sent to you.
To me? What for?
Are you Lumiere from the rat house? The scribe?
I used to be. Now I'm just Lumiere the madman.
They say that about you. Why?
Because I was just on some wild goose chase. And what came of it? Absolutely nothing.
But I need your help.
If I were you, lad, I'd leave it be. You can't help that girl anymore, anyway. You'll just end up hurting yourself.
Come now, Lumiere.
Poor girls. Nobody was all that interested in it, except for me. We let it be in the end. We let a monster walk among us. No way. You can't solve this yourself.
I need to know the truth. To find the one responsible.
I appreciate your enthusiasm, lad. But it's no use. I searched high and low. And what did I get out of it? Just mockery. What makes you think you can find out more than I did?
Because I'm stubborn. And I don't have any other choice. I'll get to the truth no matter what.
You think that will suffice?
If not, I'd have been dead long ago. Bled out from a human arrow.
All right. Talk to me. Who was this dead girl?
Her name was Alice. She worked as a maid.
A maid? That fits. Yarka was a maid too. As were most of the other victims. What did she look like? What did he do to her?
I think that he strangled her first, and then went at her with a longer blade and disemboweled her.
Did you notice the strangulation right away? It took me a while. Maybe you really will track him down.
Do you think it's the same murder?
Counting your girl, that makes 6 victims who were first strangled and then mutilated. If it's not all the same person, they must be collaborating somehow.
This is the 6th one. How long has he been killing?
Probably about a year now. Sometimes it takes him months, sometimes weeks. But I'm including missing girls. Stanya and Zdena.
Did the dead girls have anything in common?
Aside from being pretty young girls with no proper family or background, no. I couldn't find much.
Do you think somebody is killing them because they're poor and nobody will miss them?
Certainly. If somebody killed the daughter of a local lord, no stone would be left unturned.
But why does he even kill in the first place?
I don't know. Maybe he hates women. Damn it. I feel like I'm going in circles and can't get out.
Did you have any suspects back then?
You can always find some suspect. I always dragged the most suspicious ones to the body in the morgue by force. And they threw up at the sight. Or fainted.
Couldn't it have just been an act?
Fainting? Vomiting? That's hard to act. I'd swear none of them did it.
Why were you looking into it? Who were those dead girls to you?
I don't know what people told you about me, but for many long years I was a scribe for Kuttenberg's bailiff. Gutenberg is a big city with a lot of people. Silver, silver, silver. Mining it, smelting it, stealing it. There's always something going on. The bailiff was always running from hell to Hades, from one rich man to another, settling their quarrels. Often trivial nonsense.
But there are more than just rich burghers and lords in the city.
Exactly. There are common folk, too. There's a lot more of them, and their troubles are usually more serious. So when one of them came to the bailiff's one time, and the bailiff was running around somewhere, I started to deal with it myself. I was pretty good at it, too.
Behind the bailiff's back?
Not really. Andreas supported my activities until recently.
What happened?
I don't want to talk about it. Sorry.
What can you tell me about Yarka?
She wasn't the first. But thanks to her, people started taking an interest. She was a maid in a German family. By all accounts, she was a pious, polite girl. She was orphaned as a child. The priest from the church of St. Peter and Paul, Father Prokop, raised her. They found her body tossed behind a barn at the edge of town. She was cut all the way from her neck downwards. An awful sight to behold.
Did you have any suspects?
At first, I thought the son from that family did it. A murderer is usually someone close, you know. But then I changed my mind.
Why?
Well, for one, I remembered the two girls before her who ended up almost the same. Besides that, when I talked to the lad, he seemed he wasn't the least bit interested in Yarka. Then his mother told me that they threw her out a week before the murder because she was a harlot who stayed out till all hours of the night. That really surprised me, because Father Prokop had vouched for her good reputation. But who knows? Maybe he just didn't want to admit what had become of her.
What about Stanya?
She was an alehouse wench in a tavern of ill repute called the Hole in the Wall.
You said her body was never found. Maybe she just got out of town.
You have no idea how much I'd like to believe that. Only there was a lot of blood. Unfortunately, the investigation wasn't very successful. The Hole is a world of its own, and the people there aren't very forthcoming with information.
Did you suspect anybody?
You could suspect every second man there. Those people have nothing but thievery and deceit in their eyes. The innkeeper, Mole, definitely knew Stanya, since she worked for him. But he isn't all that chatty either.
So if I want to learn anything more, I have to ask this Mole? In the hole?
Yeah, he still runs the place.
And what about that Zdena? You said her body was never found.
Exactly. But to tell the truth, nobody spent much time looking for it. Besides Alice, Zdena was the most recent victim. It's only been a few weeks since she went missing, but I suppose nobody wanted to do any more digging.
But if her body was never found, how do you know she was killed?
Because she was the same type as the other girls. Maybe the prettiest of them all. Young, beautiful. A real live one. Lively as the devil. She was a thief. A pickpocket. I never could pin it on her, though. She always found some way to get out of it.
Maybe she robbed the wrong people and had to get out of town.
Maybe. She had a partner in crime by the name of Strunad. Quite a number. He's always sitting in the hole, boozing. When I asked him about Zdena, he told me he'd rather rip his own tongue out than talk.
Do you think he'd be more forthcoming with me?
He might be. You're not known all over town like a catchpole. It's worth a try. Besides, it might still be fresh in his memory. That would be a great help.
And what about the other two victims?
It all started with them, though nobody did much about it at the time. The first one worked as a bathhouse maid. They called her Chestnut. She'd only been in town for a short while, and nobody really knew her. So I couldn't find out anything more. But the other one, Libushka, she was from Loretz. She was a maidservant, too. I also talked to her mother. She said she was really cheerful and outgoing. There were lots of suitors circling around her, but she refused them all. She knew she was pretty and knew she could do better than some farmhand.
You mean she wanted someone higher up?
That's what it sounded like. But her mother never found out who she had her eye on.
Interesting. I'll try to see what else I can find out from the mother. Where can I find her?
In the graveyard, lad. The poor woman died of grief. It's sad to say, but we can't help those two dead girls now. And they can't help us with our investigation either. There's nobody else left who could tell us anything about them.
Can you sum it all up for me?
We have 6 victims here. And I believe they were all murdered by the same killer. Unfortunately, we only know a little about the last 4, the most recent ones. By now, we won't learn anything about the first 2. Of the remaining 4, the first to be killed was the maidservant, Yarka. She was raised by Father Prokop from the Church of St. Peter and Paul. He should know the most about her. The next were Stanya and Zdena. Their bodies weren't found, but we assume they also became victims of the same murderer. They both hung around a tavern they called the Hole in the Wall. Stanya was an alehouse maid, and Zdena a pickpocket. And the last victim is Alice now, also a maid. What they all have in common is that they were young, beautiful, and brunette.
Good. I know everything I need to know.
When you learn something more, stop by and see me. You've aroused a bit of hope in me, lad. I hope you won't disappoint me.
Greetings to you. You have a kind heart.
Around. You won't believe it. A whole village burnt to the ground. Hell on earth. Just a few days' walk from here. You have to hear this. In Silver Scallop, they say. Without warning.
I want to repent sincerely.
Your action.
I'm ready to go, Father.
In the fields between the Devil's Den and Grund is a wooden cross in memory of a Kuttenberg merchant's only daughter who was struck by lightning in a storm. She died on the spot. Her father's heart was filled with great sorrow. He built the cross himself. Let his sorrow inspire you to sincere repentance. Pray for him and for her unfortunate fate.
What penance do you give me?
Recite the Angelus and hope to be heard.
I better get going then.
Hasten to salvation, sinner.
What's that I hear?
Come and take your pick.
Stay close to the others. It's not safe here.
Good day to you. What brings you here?
Father, I need to ask you a few questions.
I don't have time for theological discussions, my son.
That's not why I'm here. My name's Henry, and I wanted to ask about the murder that happened recently. Someone killed and gutted a young maidservant and left her body lying by the city walls. And I hear it's not the first time this has happened.
Another one murdered. May the Lord grant her eternal rest. Why is it you ask?
I fear for my sister. She's also a maid.
Yes. Fear for those close to you is commendable. What would you like to hear?
One of the other victims was a girl named Yarka. But I reckon you know that, don't you? What can you tell me about her?
About Yarka. She was an ordinary girl. She served the von Groll family.
Where did you know Yarka from?
I knew her since she was a little girl. Knew her family.
And?
I was her uncle. When my brother and his wife died, I took care of her.
Who do you think killed her?
William, that pig of Satan. He gambles in the tavern on All Saints' Day and leads the locals astray. Yarka always went there to listen to music.
Why do you think it was William? Do you have any evidence?
Evidence? He's a skirt chaser, a tool of Satan. He messes with poor girls' heads.
And does anyone else come to mind? No other man spoke with her?
No, absolutely not.
You raised her? A priest with a child?
Yes. Unfortunately, I'm not the first of the clergy to have a child on the side. But at least everyone knew Yarka wasn't my own daughter.
No offense, but how did you know what to do? Without a wife, without a family? I would have been lost.
I was a bit, son. When she was smaller, it was fine, but when she grew up a bit, maybe I was too hard on her.
How does that even work? Did you have her with you at the presbytery?
When she was small, I could. But when she grew up, she had to go. It wouldn't look right.
Why do you think you were too hard on her?
Yarko was an orphan, with no family and no possessions. Her only chance of a good life was a good upbringing. And then, a husband. But the more I led her in that direction, the more she resisted me.
You're well off, though. Couldn't you provide for her?
I couldn't. Even if she had been my very own, More so since she was my brother's.
But how come?
The church's property always remains the church's. They keep a close eye on that.
How did she rebel against you?
She wouldn't listen. She ran away. She ran around with all sorts. And how did it turn out? She died. And in sin. Such a disgrace.
Disgrace? What the devil are you talking about?
She was pregnant! Even if she had lived, what then? Nobody would want to marry her anymore.
Why don't you respect Lumir?
That's my business. You needn't concern yourself about that. I won't tell you anything.
Come on, this is a really important matter. You can trust me.
That's just what a person I shouldn't trust would say.
Come now, Father.
Those who guard their lips preserve their lives.
Fine. Let's leave it be then. I've heard enough, Father. I'll be going.
Son, I'll give you some good advice. Don't listen to Lumir. That man has gone completely mad.
What can I do for you?
Take care of my dog.
Oh, friend. Good doggy. Good boy.
My younger brother was as hairy as Asa when he was born. The baby was young.
Keep close to the others. It's not safe here.
Hey, come here.
What would you like?
I don't want to yell. Come closer. You're new here, aren't you? Has Chenyek talked the head off you already?
We spoke.
I'll give you some good advice to start with. Don't listen to his bollocks about a fairer society and the honourable struggle for a better tomorrow. It's just bullshit to mess with newcomers like you. By the way, they call me Knuckles.
It sounded pretty convincing to me.
Aye. Chenyek can sweet-talk people like no other. I mean, Chenyek talks about sharing stuff fairly and how we don't do it for the money. But you know what? It's horseshit. It's every man for himself down here, even if they say otherwise. And Chenyek just gives it such a nice polish.
Are you saying he lied to me?
More like, he didn't tell you the whole truth. I heard from friends that Sigismund has a bottle of very fine wine somewhere in his warehouse. The kind of wine that you don't often see in these parts. I have a buyer for it. So if you bring it to me, I'll give you half the coin he's paying for it.
That sounds reasonable. What do you know about the wine?
I knew we'd get along. The wine is in a warehouse somewhere. If you find it and bring it to me, I'll give you a better price for it than any merchant in the town. So think about it. The buyer I got is particularly interested in this bottle.
I'll look for it. Chenyek said you could give me some gear too.
All that talk about equality, brotherhood. But when it comes to lockpicks, I'm supposed to give you stuff from my own stash. Here's something you might find useful.
Thank you.
Just
One
a
beer,
moment.
please.
How can I help you, stranger?
Did Estanya work here?
Stanya? Maybe. It depends on who's asking.
My name's Henry.
Names don't interest me. The main thing is whether it's a good guest or a bad guest asking. What kind of guest are you, Henry?
I'm a good guest.
Really? Let's see. Do you know how to recognise a good guest?
Depends if they're loyal to your tavern and come often.
Trust is all important. I'm plenty happy to talk to folks what faithfully hand their groschen over to me. So, what'll it be, my good man?
What if I simply paid you and you tell me what I want to know?
Ask away.
I want to know if Stanya worked here.
She did. And she don't know more. What's it to you?
I heard she disappeared without a trace. So I'm trying to find out if anyone had anything to do with it.
It's possible. The chamber she was sleeping in here was totally ransacked. The door open. Everything emptied out. And Stanya was gone. All I found were bloody footprints.
Tell me something else.
First, you'll have another beer. Or is it time to pay?
What?
If you want to ask, you have to drink. Didn't you get that?
You're quite the extortionist.
I prefer to be called an enterprising man of trade. So, what'll it be?
I'm getting tired of this. I'll give you the money up front, and that's all you'll get, whether I'm a good guest or bad. Got it? Now you're gonna spill it. Got it?
All right, all right.
Did anybody see what actually happened when Stanya disappeared?
No, it was at night. Nobody saw or heard anything. The tavern tends to be empty at that hour. And you won't meet many people on the street, neither.
What was Stanya like? What can you tell me about her?
A bold woman. One has to be here. Everyone's ballsy here unless you nib it in the bud right away. She was hanging around a bard for a while. I don't know how close they were, but she also had another suitor.
Someone from the city?
No, a charcoal burner. I heard he was from somewhere in the, Verchlitz Valley. I think his name was Barton?
What do you know about that bard?
What about him? He's a minstrel, a skirt chaser. What more can I say? He called himself William. As far as I know, he plays in the Miners' Tavern in the evenings. But sometimes he shows up here, too.
You think he might have been the one who...
Now that you mention it, he cleared out of town for a while and only came back not long ago. It could be him, all right. I know he met with some odd people and talked about God knows what, like bloody spies. Besides, you know what minstrels are like. Lasses just flock to them. And like they say, opportunity makes the thief.
Or in this case, A murderer? Apart from those men, did anyone else know Stanya? I mean, more intimately?
Well, I got bad news for you. She had two close friends, but you won't get much out of either of them.
Why?
One was hit by a cart, even before Stanya disappeared, and she died. And the other one got married and moved away.
How did Stanya's room look?
The door was wide open. Most of her things were gone, but some remained. And there was blood all over the place.
Blood? Was there a lot?
Not so much, really. More like hand or footprints. But they were near everywhere. If someone done her in, they definitely didn't do it in that chamber.
Where can I find this Barton?
I already told you. In the Verchlitz Valley.
Could you be a bit more precise?
I don't know that bloke at all. All I know is he's a charcoal burner. So if I was you, I'd look somewhere around the charcoal kilns.
That's all I need to know.
Good doggy. Good boy.
Easy. Easy. Nice and slow. Beautiful.
Good people.
Whoa, whoa.
Silly doggy.
Easy. Easy. Nice and slow. Whoa, whoa. Go! God! Go! God! Whoa! Whoa!
Come and hear something you won't believe. I've travelled the whole world, and now I will tell you the amazing things
Go! Ja! Quick! Go! Ja! Go!
Whoa!
Ja! Go! Ja! Ja! Go! Go! I'm looking for someone named Stanya.
You're in a charcoal camp, fella. What would a woman be doing here?
But you know Stanya, don't you?
Aye. You could say that. Why?
I'm looking for the killer of a girl in town. And I heard that someone also tried to kill this Stanya.
That's true. She told me something like that. But that was a long time ago.
So you don't know what became of her?
I really don't know, mate. But even if I did know, how can I be sure you aren't that killer?
Lumir himself, the Kuttenberg bailiff's former scribe, gave me the task. He was looking into her disappearance, and he sent me to find her.
Well, I don't know. I remember Lumir. He was all right. That's all true, but...
But what? What are you still brooding over?
You seem like the right man for a job like that. Sorry, but after all that happened to Stanya, I like to be careful.
So Stanya is here?
Aye. She's hiding with us. Since that thing happened, she's afraid to even go outside. I don't know what to do with her anymore.
Can I speak to her?
If it'll help you. She's hiding in that cottage, but be nice to her. She's in a bad way. She used to be such a gutsy girl. Till we meet again.
Who are you? How did you find me? If you came here to finish what you started, I'm not afraid of you. I'll claw your eyes out.
Don't be afraid. Barton told me where to find you.
Barton sent you to me. What do you want from me?
Lumir thought you were dead. I was supposed to find out what happened to you.
Lumir? From the rat house. He sent you.
Exactly. Someone killed a girl in Kuttenberg. Lumir thought it might be connected with you, so maybe you could help us find out who did it.
How can I help you when I haven't been in Kuttenberg since... I don't even know when.
How are you now?
I'm still awful scared. I can't fall asleep knowing that, and I can't even really leave the house.
What was it like working in the hole?
Well, I earned a few groschen, that I did, but I often had to grit my teeth.
How so?
Every single day I had to put up with their lewd remarks. Rich or poor, everyone wants to grope a girl. People, well, us girls have to watch out. We can't just put up with it, and sometimes we have to be tough, especially in a place like the hole. But you can't overdo it either. That's no good.
How so?
Because if you smile at them nicely, then sometimes they leave a groschen, or even two. You have to keep a balance. To look friendly, but unavailable.
You said that rich or poor, they all like to grope girls. Like who?
Truth be told, the hole isn't exactly a good place for a rich man, but young von Groll used to go there for a while.
Is that so? Did he talk to you?
He smiled at me a lot, so I smiled back, but beyond a few groschen, there was nothing more to it. Then this thieving wench started hanging around him and... Oh, it doesn't matter. But that servant of his didn't like it, tried to drive her away, and so the young lord stopped bringing him with him.
Von Groller had a servant with him?
Aye, a pudgy fella, well dressed, but had a mean face. He never said a word or smiled, or even said thank you.
Why didn't you go back to the hole?
Just to get murdered there? Are you mad? I'm never going back there. Not until they catch him.
He disappeared from the hole in the wall without saying goodbye. Without a word. What happened?
Someone attacked me when I was coming home from the baths one night. I managed to get away, but I was so afraid. I decided to run away from Kuttenberg.
Did you see who it was?
Not at all. I didn't see anything until he jumped out of the shadows and grabbed me around the neck. And he was terribly strong. I nearly blacked out right away.
And how did you manage to break free?
I had an empty pitcher in my hand, and I hit him with it. He howled and let me go, and I ran away.
Here? To the charcoal burners?
No, first to my room in the hole. But I was so scared there. I took what I could and ran. Here, to Barton.
And your lover? What did he say?
At first he was horrified, because I had cut myself on a shard from the pitcher and was all bloody. He's been hiding me here since then.
Do you remember anything important about the attacker? What he looked like? What he was wearing?
I don't know anything. It was at night. He grabbed me from behind, and then I ran and never turned back.
And what about when you hit him? What did he do?
He let me go and cursed.
Aha, and what did he say?
He said Scheisse in German.
Seems you're the only one to survive the killer's attack. I know it isn't easy for you to think about it, but try to remember something else about that moment, or when you were running away. Anything can help us, even if it seems insignificant.
I don't know. It's all like in a fog.
You were walking down the street. Did you notice anything before he attacked you?
No, nothing.
You didn't see anything or hear anything?
Actually, I knew the side street wasn't empty. I heard somebody talking. But when I looked, there was nobody there. So when somebody grabbed me, I completely froze.
Did you understand what they were talking about?
Not at all. But there were two voices. Two of them waiting for me there.
It's difficult, I understand. But I need you to think hard one more time. Aside from those voices and the empty street, what else do you remember?
I didn't hear him at all. And then he grabbed me.
And nothing else? Did he grab your hair?
Well, no. He grabbed me by the throat right away and squeezed. Just for a moment, but I still had a big bruise round my neck for weeks. Barton said the man must have had a terribly strong grip, like a miner or swordsman.
You walked home from the baths at night?
What's so odd about that?
Well, At night, the baths are...
Ah, right. I went there after closing. I always brought the girls a pitcher of wine or ale and took a bath while they drank it.
Aha. So that's why you had the empty pitcher you hit him with?
Right. I went there regularly. Every week.
The same way every time?
Aye, always the same way. The shortest one. I didn't want to stay out too long at night.
And who knew that you went by yourself to the baths?
Well, everyone from the tavern, I reckon. I didn't hide it.
Couldn't it have been Father Prokop?
Father Prokop? I don't know him.
No, he's pretty old. He preaches in the Church of St. Peter and St. Paul.
I don't know him. And if he's an old man, how strong could his grip really be?
I heard William was spying for someone.
William? Please.
You don't think so?
He just likes to boast, trying to be interesting and woo some girls.
So it's bullshit?
Absolutely. Have you ever seen a spy that told everybody he was a spy?
Couldn't it have been that innkeeper then? You yourself said he's a pig.
Aye, when he drinks, he turns into a total bastard. All lewd remarks and groping fingers. The lecher. Only when I got to my room, I could hear him snoring. It couldn't have been him.
I reckon that'll be all.
I'm sorry I'm not able to help you more.
You don't need to apologise.
Thank you. Could I ask you for a favour?
If it's in my power.
When you catch that bastard, would you please let me know? So I can finally stop being afraid.
I'll stop by if I can.
Bless you, sir.
Good doggy. Good boy.
I've been to see Alice.
And? What did you find out?
You were right. Somebody horribly mutilated her.
How bad was it?
First, somebody strangled her, and then used something sharp to disembowel her and cut off her lady bits.
Good God! Why would somebody do that? Do you think it was a warning?
Probably. But I don't know for whom.
What do you mean?
If somebody killed her and butchered her like that for tattling, then you'd think her tongue would be cut out or something, right?
That's true.
Except her tongue was there. Untouched.
So you don't think they killed her because of me?
I don't think it was because of you. I talked to Lumir.
With whom?
Well, young maidservants have been getting murdered for some time now. And a certain Lumir took an interest and tried to track down the killer.
Unsuccessfully, I reckon.
Aye. But I learned a lot from him.
Does he at least suspect someone?
He suggested I investigate some of the murders myself. I might find something new.
What sort of man is he? Can we trust him?
You mean if he killed those girls himself? I don't think so. He was laid off because of it. He was was actually lucky I found him. Otherwise he probably would have drunk himself to death.
You know what? I'll go and see him too. Maybe I can get something out of him that he didn't want to tell you.
So you want to play a good old game of bad knight and fair lady?
Well, you're laughing now, but you'd be surprised at how well it works.
Did you learn anything new about Alice's murder?
No, unfortunately. But I've been quite careful with my questioning. I don't want to drag anyone else into this.
We can do whatever
That thing with your arm. Did you make that?
Not a chance.
Are you Sternad? The one that went with Zdenna?
Who the fuck are you?
Just an ordinary bloke who has some questions.
Well then, piss off. You won't get any answers here. All you're gonna get here is a kick in the teeth.
Better men have tried it than a cock puller like you.
Cock puller? I'll fucking pull your cock clean off. I'm gonna bash your face in. Mercy! Leave me be!
Well, had enough?
Fuck yeah, damn it. What the hell do you want from me?
Talk! Where's Zdenna?
The last time I saw her, it's a long time ago. She scored big. Everyone was fucking jealous. She just needed to pawn it off.
And where did she go with her loot? Do you know?
Well, she had some kind of arrangement with this fella called Pint from the mill. The one called Rabstein. She always took the stuff to him.
Do you remember what she managed to steal?
Mainly jewels. Gold and silver. No bloody pewter. She had some fucking huge golden signet ring. A bloke could fuck for a whole month with something like that.
Do you know whose crest was on it?
I don't know. I'm no expert. But it were bloody expensive, that's for sure.
Do you know who she took it off?
She always said she found it on the street. That's because if the wrong ears hear it, you can end up in the shit. Or on the gallows even.
Did she hang out with any men?
She liked to hang around with that crooner that plays for the miners in that tavern of theirs. Made him sing songs and that. Oh, and once she got in a quarrel with that fucking priest Prokop. That was a laugh.
Could she have run away with that bard?
I doubt it. He was a bit of a milksop. He tried to be all mysterious and play the tough fella. But you could see he was lying. And Zdenna could see right through him, I bet.
Why do you think so?
Because he was getting on my nerves. So I cornered him in a dark alley one time. He ran away so fast, I bet he shit himself.
And what about this priest? Why was he quarrelling with her?
I don't know. He was blabbering some shit about finding her a job, only she didn't want it. God bless.
And women of virtue, gather round and
Quick! Go! 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 Ka! Ka! Go!
Whoa! A blessed evening to you.
Are you Pint?
I am. Why?
I'm looking for his dinner.
I don't know any's dinner.
Sternard said something different.
You're a friend of Sternard's, are you?
God forbid. That's all I need. A friend like that bastard. But he was the only one who really knew Zdenna.
You're right there. Zdenna was always cursing him. He was as lazy as a pig, but always wanted his share.
So you knew Zdenna? Can you tell me anything about her?
I know Zdenna all right, but she ain't been here in some time. Why are you looking for her? What do you want from her?
I'm looking for a... Back in the city, they think she's either dead or run off somewhere. And you're the last person to see her before she went missing.
Kurva.
What can you tell me about Zdena?
She always had it hard. She lost her parents and her home as a child. She had to learn to take care of herself.
And what about Sternad? How does he fit into this?
Sternard was her guardian angel, as she used to say. If she hadn't been thieving with him, she probably would have ended up a whore. But by sharing with him, she could do what she wanted.
Uh-huh. I'm surprised she stuck with him as long as she did.
That's because she had a hideout somewhere nearby. That's why she'd come to me with her loot, before they taxed her on the spot. And the last time she was here, she said one more haul like this, and she'll be able to go wherever she wanted, to Prague or Vienna.
I heard she wanted to sell you some valuables. Is that true?
Oh, aye. She had a good haul. No rubbish. Mostly jewellery, rings, one signet ring with a coat of arms and everything.
She left it all here. I paid her a pretty sum of coin. It was a good thing she had a basket with her. Otherwise, she couldn't have carried it all.
And what about that signet ring? Do you still have it?
She didn't sell me the ring. She wanted to keep it. Said it'd bring her luck someday.
Do you know what kind of luck she meant? Did you recognize the signet on the ring?
No, I didn't recognize that signet. But all the while, Zdena was giggling to herself. I reckon she had her eye on another mark.
Where did she go next from here? You said she had a lot of coin on her.
That she did. She also had a feeling someone was following her. Someone on a horse.
Someone followed her on a horse from Kuttenberg. Did she say what he looked like?
She didn't. At first, she thought it was some wealthy lord out for a ride. But he held back. Never passed by her and...
And did you see him? Did he come all the way here?
No. But Zdena thought he would show. She even left her scarf here and paid some girl to walk around with it to make it look like she was still here.
And then where'd she go?
She wanted to go the back way, through the woods, so nobody could follow her. Past the woods is a road and a ford across a stream. Next to it is a huge boulder. When it rains, the water can rise fast. The road goes on to Kuttenberg.
Well, if it leads back to the road and there was really someone following her, I reckon if they saw she was long in returning, they could have waited for her at the ford, no?
Fuck! That's quite possible. I made a point of looking, but I didn't see any riders that day, so I forgot about it.
Is Denna's scarf? Do you still have it?
Aye. I wanted to give it back to her the next time she came.
Will you give it to me? I'll try having my dog track her down.
All the same to me. Here you go. But it's been a long time. I don't know if it will help.
And could it have been Father Prokop following her?
What do I know? If he has a horse and fancy clothes. But why would he do it?
I heard he wanted to find her an honest job, but she wasn't interested.
I don't know. She didn't say nothing about that.
And could it have been William?
And who would that be?
He's this bard she was seeing.
I don't know about that. I don't remember her mentioning nobody by that name.
Well, I'll go and check out that fort. Maybe I'll find something there.
I hope you don't. Farewell.
I'm as hungry as a wolf. That has to be that ford Pike was talking about. I should take a look around here. Search. Poor thing. She didn't get very far. Ugh, she's been lying here a long time. At first glance, this body isn't as mutilated as the others. Unfortunately, I can't tell if somebody strangled her like the others. She's been lying here too long for that, but her head is smashed in. Either the murderer hit her with a rock, or dashed her hard against the ground. She must have put up a fight. Or maybe he lost his patience. Oh, she's all stuck to her clothes. They're torn up, but I don't see any cuts. The rips are odd. Like someone was looking for something. Oh, I can't make much out by now, but it seems as if the fingers on her right hand are broken. Did the murderer torture her? Or was he trying to get something out of her hand? Oh, my God. Oh, something fell out of her. A signet ring. Oh, that must be the one she stole. But how did it get inside her? Did she swallow it herself? Or did the murderer shove it in there? Was she trying to hide it? Or was it punishment for stealing? Well, that's enough. But what does it all mean? I'd say she put up a decent fight, and the killer had to improvise, and that's about all I can find out. She's probably been lying here a few weeks, but that ring is a good lead.
God grant you help.
I found out some interesting things about those murders. Just like you said.
That's wonderful news. But wait a while. I promised Catherine we'd wait for her.
You know Catherine?
She came to see me soon after you did, and started asking me questions. Just like you.
Will you send for her? So, we're all here.
I hope nobody else shows up. How did it go?
I reckon I've found out all I can.
And do you know who the murderer is?
Not exactly, but I have a few ideas.
I've asked around a bit, and I have my own suspicions.
Is that so? See, I was trying to recall some more details, and I had someone come to mind as well.
Oh, I didn't do all this for nothing, did I?
Well,
Well? Who do you suspect now?
Well, I'd say William did it. The minstrel.
You can't be serious. He's innocent.
Uh-huh. And who do you think it was?
Prokop. I'm sure of it.
No. Really? That's impossible. It couldn't have been him.
So I see we disagree. Too bad. We could have been done with it quickly.
Well, who do you think it was then?
I'm not entirely sure. First, I'll tell you what I found out, and then it might be easier for us.
Go on then. Starting with who?
Let's talk about Yarka, the one raised by Father Prokop.
What did you learn about her?
Prokop didn't just raise her out of the goodness of his heart. He was actually her uncle.
Really? But he still could have killed her.
His own relative?
Why not? He's a priest. I'm sure he knows the story of Cain and Abel.
Prokop also admitted that he didn't know how to handle her, and perhaps he was too strict.
What do you expect from a Bible thumper? Man punishes and God forgives. It never occurs to them that if man didn't punish, God wouldn't have to forgive.
Well, maybe I wouldn't hold it against him. He really tried to make sure she was well taken care of. He wanted to find her a husband, too.
And did you learn who he found?
No. I think it fell apart when Yarka started rebelling. Yarka started working for the von Groller family, where she remained until her death.
I was there to ask whether she'd given them any trouble, but they said she was always thorough and reliable.
So what's the story with von Grolls?
A very wealthy and important family. The mother is quite devout, known to spend a lot of time in prayer. Old von Groller's been sick for years. Can't even get out of bed.
So, who runs affairs?
That would be young Hendel. They say he's quite successful.
Before her death, I heard she often went to dances.
There's nothing wrong or surprising about that. But maybe she found someone there.
Maybe. Prokop was convinced that she went to see William. That was actually the only name he mentioned.
That doesn't mean anything.
It means she had some relationship with William, or at least knew him.
And now, most importantly, Yarka was pregnant when they killed her.
I didn't know that. Do you know for sure? So they gutted her?
To make it impossible to tell she was pregnant? I wouldn't be surprised.
May God forgive us.
Do you know who she was pregnant with? Because if we know who the father is, we'll likely know who the killer is.
She didn't tell Prokop.
It had to be someone from those dances. Maybe William.
Prokop is convinced that she was murdered by that bard, William.
And I agree with him. I heard the daughters of important men come to see him. It even went so far he had to flee the city. And the moment he's back, there's another murder.
I don't agree. I saw him play, and he doesn't look like a murderer. A seducer? Perhaps. But there's something about him. Maybe it's just his songs.
But he's a skirt chaser. If he got Yarka pregnant, then...
Perhaps. But why would he kill and mutilate her? He could have just run away.
But then he could never come back.
Why not? He could come back a year later, once things have died down, the child would be born, the shame forgotten, and nobody would bring it up again.
I suppose that makes sense. That's all I was able to find out.
You still found out more than I did.
But it's not enough. We still don't know who the killer is.
But we can agree that she was killed because of her pregnancy, can't we?
Agreed. Somebody got rid of her to make sure nobody found out she was pregnant.
I'm sure William wanted...
William isn't the only man with a prick. And he certainly didn't use it to strangle her to death.
Such language. What are you trying to say?
That William isn't the only man in the city. It could have been anyone. And now we'll never find out.
I'm not saying it couldn't have been him. Though I don't think it was. It just seems foolish to only focus on him.
I suppose you're right. Let's forget it.
I managed to find Stanya.
Alive? You found her alive?
I did. Alive and well. Hiding with the charcoal burners.
So, she's not one of our victims?
She is. She just managed to escape the killer. She said she was attacked on her way home from the baths. She heard somebody talking in a side street, but it was empty. But when she walked by, someone grabbed her by the throat and started strangling her.
And how did she manage to get away?
She was holding an empty pitcher, and she smashed the killer in the face with it. He either got startled or hurt, but he let her go.
Did she get a look at him? Did she take his eye out or something?
No, she didn't stop to find out. Just ran. Which is probably why she survived.
And what about the blood in the bedroom?
She cut her hand on the broken pitcher. She didn't stay in her room for long. She was still so scared that she grabbed her things and ran off to her beloved charcoal burner. She said she returned from the baths in the evening regularly, and somebody knew exactly which way she would take and where to wait for her.
You mean someone followed her beforehand to figure out where to ambush her?
Who knew that she went to the baths?
Apparently everyone in the tavern. She didn't hide the fact. She also said she was sure it wasn't Mole. He may be a pig, but the evening she ran home, he was in bed snoring. Well, according to Stanya, the murderer had a terribly strong grip. Her neck was bruised for almost a month.
Doesn't almost every man have a strong grip?
Depending on what they take in hand every day. A tankard, a quill, or a hammer.
Except none of our suspects are miners or blacksmiths, eh? According to Stanya, the murderer didn't say a word the entire time.
That's strange, right? I'd expect him to at least call her a whore.
The only word he uttered was when she smashed him in the face with the pitcher. He said Scheisse.
So, we're looking for a German?
Even I say Scheiße sometimes, and I'm not German.
Besides that, she also recalled hearing two voices in the alley. Someone was talking to the killer.
So we have a witness. Now, just to find him.
Or an accomplice. If I remember correctly, the other one must have seen the whole thing, right? And he didn't go to report it.
I asked Stanya if she knew Prokop. She said no.
Maybe she just doesn't remember him. Or he gave a different name, or...
I don't think Father Prokop is the type to frequent the worst tavern in Kuttenberg.
Stanya admitted that she knows William. He flirted with her and tried to get to know her better, but nothing came of it.
And that's probably why I wanted to kill her. And likely rape her before that.
Well, perhaps, but Stanya doesn't think so. She's sure it wasn't William, and no matter what they say about him, in her eyes he's a good lad. And that's all that Stanya told me.
I'm so glad that girl is alive.
Me too. At least someone's had a little luck. Does she want to come back, or will she stay with the charcoal burners?
I don't think she'll come back. She's so scared now they'll come back for her, she doesn't even leave the house. I managed to find Zdena.
You found her? Is she alive too?
No. Unfortunately, she's dead.
And where did you find her?
Pretty far away. Near the mill she used to sell things at. Someone caught her in the forest when she was coming home with a load of coin and killed her. I reckon she put up a hell of a fight. So the killer got nervous and ended things quickly.
So he didn't strangle or mutilate her?
She'd been lying in the woods for a long time, so I couldn't really tell. But he definitely didn't hack her up like the others. Judging by what her accomplice said, she robbed someone good. She had so much jewellery on her, she could hardly carry it. And what's odd is when she was murdered, the killer left her basket of valuables behind.
So I reckon he didn't kill her for the money.
She said someone followed her on horseback from Kuttenberg. She tried to lose him, but apparently wasn't able to.
On horseback? I don't suppose she described him, did she?
Only as a wealthy type who never got too close.
That doesn't fit in with the previous murders.
Father Prokop came looking for Zdena and nearly cursed her on the spot.
What did he have in common with a thief?
He had also looked after her, but unlike Yarka, she ended up on the street, and he took it badly. Ugh, my mouth is starting to hurt from all this blabbering.
So are my ears and head.
Come now, we're nearly there. We just need to find our suspect. So, Henry, who do you think did it?
You won't want to hear it, but I think it was Prokop.
Christ almighty. Why the hell would you think that?
What if he had wanted to cover up Yarka's pregnancy?
Can you imagine the rumours? That his niece is knocked up? She'd probably have to move back in with him, right?
That would be a huge disgrace.
And Prokop cares so much about how virtuous he is.
That's all I have. It's not the strongest case, but I'd believe it.
We have to do something about it.
But what?
We'll have to kill him.
Kill a priest? Well, I've always wanted to.
Stop messing around, Henry. This is serious.
Have you gone mad? You can't do that.
And what else can we do? We have to stop him, right?
Well, yes, I suppose there's no other way, but I want no part in it.
Well, I don't mind. I'd be happy to get rid of him.
Then off you go. But don't bring back any proof.
Good day.
milling about here?
A fountain? Where does the water come from? Here, in the middle of the city.
Hey, innkeeper!
It's William, right? I need to talk to you.
What is it? Do we know each other? Do I owe you money?
My name's Henry, and no, we don't know each other, and you don't owe me money. But we do have something in common. We have a lot of mutual friends.
What? What do you want of me? I don't have to talk to you.
Well, you don't have to, that's true. But you should. It's in your own best interest.
What are you talking about?
If you don't start giving me some answers right now, I reckon you'll end up begging in the streets. Because I'll break all your fingers, and you'll never play the lute again, you miserable minstrel.
What? No! Come on, I didn't do anything!
Stop whining and talk, or I'll be the one doing something to you.
Come on. All right then. Ask away.
Did you know Alice?
I know a lot of Alices. You have to be more specific.
The one they found dead somewhere below the town walls.
Oh, her. I didn't know her, but I heard about it.
I heard she used to go to dances.
Yeah, and? I'm not the only musician in the city. I really didn't know her.
They say she had a rich young suitor. Do you know anything about that?
Me? Do I look rich to you? I get paid in food.
But you could at least pass yourself off as wealthy.
Or I could claim to be the Virgin Mary, but I doubt anyone would believe me.
And did you ever meet Yarka? It was a long time ago, but I heard she used to hang around you a lot. And Father Prokop didn't like it.
Oh, that one. Aye, she was very keen on my company for a while, but then she stopped coming.
Because somebody killed her?
I know what happened was a tragedy, but it wasn't my fault. She stopped talking to me long before that. Honest.
And did you know she was pregnant?
What? Yarka was... That's horrible. Who would kill a pregnant woman?
That's what I'd like to find out. What about the unwilling father-to-be? It wouldn't happen to be yours, would it?
What? Mine? I never even got under her skirt. We just flirted a bit, and then she stopped coming by.
And can you tell me anything else about it?
I don't know anything. It was a long time ago. You said so yourself.
And I hear you knew Stanya.
Which one do you mean?
The alehouse wench from the hole. I heard you had something with her too.
Well, she batted her eyes at me a couple of times when I was still playing there. A nice girl, but I didn't know her much.
And the innkeeper Mole told me a different story. He said you were the one coming on to her.
Fine, we had a bit of fun together. But she was always the one who started it.
Before she gave you the boot for an ordinary charcoal burner.
That's not true. She'd been seeing that charcoal burner long before she met me.
And you didn't mind?
Why should I? I didn't want to marry her.
So what did you want from her then?
You're yanking my pizzle, right? Of course I wanted to fuck her, but no, we never got around to it.
Someone wanted to kill her.
What? Her? Yeah, but... What does that have to do with me? It wasn't me, and I don't know anybody who'd want to do that either.
And what about Zdena? You knew her, right?
Do I know Zdena? As wild as the wind and always full of life. And those nimble fingers. You always had to check your purse around her.
Did she steal something from you?
A travelling minstrel doesn't have much to steal, but she was well aware of that. She was on the lookout for some better prey.
Well, Zdena's days of stealing are over.
They caught her. I told her she'd be better off travelling the world with me.
Worse. Someone killed her. It's been a while now.
So her too? Jesus Christ.
I'm afraid so. I'm sorry.
Thanks. Though it should have occurred to me since you're asking about her.
You don't happen to know who she wanted to rob?
There were lots. Anyone she thought was rich enough who let her ply her charms for a while. Like young von Groller. When he started coming here, she got to him right away. Said she was gonna rob him blind.
And might she have stolen a ring from him?
I don't know. I had to disappear before she succeeded. Look, why are you asking me about all this? You don't seriously think I killed her, do you?
Well, you did know them all.
And? I'm surely not the only one.
That may be true. But everybody knows you're a skirt chaser, and they were all pretty girls. And now, they're dead.
But I had nothing to do with it!
Confess, or this won't end well for you.
What do you mean, won't end well?
If you come clean and get lucky, they'll hang you. If not, you'll get the rack. So, did you do it?
No, I didn't!
Good. I believe you. But if any clue leads me back here to you, I won't give you a second chance.
You won't hear about me again, I swear to God.
You silly doggy.
What kind of pig was sitting here?
Innkeeper, have you got anything to eat?
Prost, meine Freunde!
I'll have a bite to eat, thanks.
All right, here it is. It's filthy again. Damn it.
I'm as hungry as a wolf.
I went to confession yesterday. yesterday, and that old priest was completely hammered again.
What did he say?
Apparently, my greatest sin is that I have such nice breasts. And my second greatest, that I don't want to show them to him.
Christ, what's the world coming to? 2 popes, heretics, diabolical schemes.
And he tried to persuade me to give the church money for repainting.
And? Did you give him any?
What do you think? Do I look like a ninny?
I think the church really does need repainting.
Well, I'm not paying for it.
Look, the priest is the priest, but we all go to church.
Let the bishop or someone take care of it. I don't care.
I see what you mean, but there's one thing you can't deny.
What's that?
That you really are pretty for your age.
Oh, you think
Taking
so?
their time again.
Well, you're just saying that.
No, I'm serious. Don't take this the wrong way, but you really are.
Hey, careful.
When I'm old and infirm, folks will come to me for the weather forecast.
I heard about this fella.
Good doggy. Good boy.
God bless you.
Greetings to you.
I'm thinking of buying a rowboat, or maybe a punt.
What do you want a boat for?
So I don't drown in all this shit here. Last time it rained for a week straight, we were up to our knees in a river of shit.
That's good. You know what? Maybe I'll buy one too. We could start a ferry service.
Take care. Best of luck to you.
Greetings. God bless.
Praise the Lord.
Good to see you. How come you weren't in church on Sunday?
I wasn't feeling well.
Not feeling well, eh? You got drunk again, didn't you?
No, of course not. I was feeling under the weather in the evening, and the next morning I
Your
just...
entire half room. Give people an inch and they'll take a mile.
Greetings.
Knows I have customers waiting.
Huh? You're not allowed here.
My God! Why are you all covered in blood?
We meet again. Clear off! You can't just stroll in here.
Right. But I promised myself I would
That's
leave
it.
till the last moment.
Go now!
So, have you got any ideas? I did. Wouldn't leave it till the last moment this year.
Oh, you much.
How's there? What brings you here? Wouldn't you rather leave? Something could go missing around here. We've no business here.
Thank you.
Come on then!
This is unbelievable!
My God! A brawl!
Huh? It's you! Back already?
Looks like it.
Good people, spare a groschen for a suffering wretch. God will repay you.
Excuse me.
Christ! Pardon me.
Well,
it happens. Just good evening to you.
I'm as hungry as a wolf.
the priest gambles with them. What? You bet he does. His housekeeper tapped me here. I heard about this fella who always got heartburn just before it snowed.
Greetings
You
to
could
you.
team.
That's enough for now. I've come to you about that investigation.
And is that good news or bad?
I did as you wished. I killed the old man.
It was the right decision, Henry. You must believe me, people like him always slide by. But thanks to us, at least someone was brought to justice.
I know. Let's forget it.
Very well. Anyway, I did promise you a reward. Here you are, and thank you. I wouldn't have managed without you.
Your hair, eyes, mouth. It was the spitting image of you. It must be a sign.
I reckon you're right. I saw your likeness just the other day, too.